This is the second video of me grading my assessment heading into the season. Obviously, I did one for the Colorado Buffaloes. That should have been released already. And today I'm doing one for my Texas Longhorns. So hook 'em first and foremost. And second of all, I have loved being self-reflective on some thoughts and some things that were concerning me before the season started. It also made me realize why some of the things that are concerning me still to this day are a thing. So I just thought it would be cool. Like I said in the other video, I'm being self-reflective here. I'm going back, I'm watching my old content that I'll put somewhere, and I'm trying to assess my own judgment and to grade myself on what I was thinking. So as I did in the Colorado Buffaloes video, if you watch that video, I will be looking up and looking down during this video because I need to look at the notes that I actually took on the videos that I watched so that I can make sure that I talk about the correct thing. So let's just get into the other part of this video. One of my favorite things about being a content creator is having the things that I think and feel on record and watching myself in a video say certain things. And so that part of this has been really cool to really see myself on it in a different way, to really go back and self-reflect on the things that I was saying. So I am going to grade my concerns and I'm going to grade the things that I called out here. And it's going to be similar to the Colorado video. It's going to be from two different videos. I had a concern video that I created that was released in May. And then I had a 2024 kind of keys to success video that I made and released in August. I made it in July, released it in August before the season started. So I am just going back and I am grading myself. So on the concerns video, I had heading into the SEC, are we going to be sustainable? Are we ready? Are we built for this? That answer is kind of incomplete. We've only played one SEC game. So bringing that up, I think it was a good call out, but as of today, that is incomplete. The other thing that I mentioned here, and I didn't say this before I started, I am doing all of this by the eye test, how I feel and what my gut is telling me. I know that I could have taken time to do research and do a very extensive video and things like that. I have videos where I did very extensive research, and if I think about it, I'll plug one here. But they tend to be longer videos, and I didn't want to come on here and just talk about stats and go through data. Listen, everybody can Google stats and things like that. But I wanted to tell my opinion and what my eye test was saying and what my gut was saying. So red zone offense was something that was concerning heading into this year. Again, we haven't really played anybody, to be honest with you. And so I don't really want to say how well we've done here. When we played Michigan, now looking back and seeing how Michigan is playing other teams, I would say that we did pretty good job in red zone offense. But again, it's still kind of an incomplete, so I can't judge there. I will be honest, the secondary is still kind of incomplete. I still have my concerns, but I feel like it's a little incomplete. Defensive line I have, and then I have the linebackers. The defensive line has played better. The linebackers have played great as well. To be honest, the last video I made, I'm like, Texas played 77 people, so it's really hard for me to base a judgment when I'm seeing how many people are playing and what's going on. I will say against Michigan, they looked great, and against Mississippi State, they looked great. So that's a good sign. So I guess I'll give myself a great job for mentioning it, but, we'll see how the season plays out. I put, are we ready for the moment? Again, sustainability. It's funny that came up twice. So I'm going to give myself an A for mentioning it, but I don't know what grade I would give the actual team yet, just because I haven't seen it. So I'm going to give myself an A for mentioning it. The other thing I have here is my lowest record prediction is 9-3, but I think we should be somewhere around 10-2. Again, too early in the season, can't call it. I put health again. You can kind of see some familiar things that I was concerned about as we were headed into this year. And so I think for these call outs, I'm going to give myself an A because I think they're really good call outs. It's just we're in week 5 yet, and this is kind of the thick of our schedule. So I'm not really sure where we fit on this. They need us to face a couple more challenges and a couple more games to really assess if my opinion on this was right, because again, our schedule hasn't really allowed it. And then I do have in here losing games we shouldn't lose, which is actually an interesting thing. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. I think the call out as a Texas fan, if you're a Texas fan and you're watching this, the call out is a good call out. We haven't played anybody that we were supposed to beat that we've lost to yet. So I guess calling that out was good, but we haven't been in that situation yet. I did have a freshman mention here. So in my concerns video, one of the things that I noted was I was really excited about seeing some of our freshmen. I called out Ryan Wingo. I called out Colin Simmons. So I just want to give myself a pat on the back on that. So I'm giving myself an A on that. Then the other video I made that was heading into 2024, some keys to success. Again, if I think about it, I'll plug those videos. And so keys to success, I said our secondary group, our linebackers, and Trey Moore. Those were the three things I called out. And as far as the secondary, I'm going to listen, we haven't really been challenged. I've said in my last video, I'm a little bit concerned because we haven't been challenged. We haven't really been challenged. So the eye test is telling me we're fine, but we haven't been challenged. So I'll give myself an incomplete. Great call out, but an incomplete on grading. The linebacker group has been great, has been phenomenal, although I can think of a couple of runs that did break, and I distinctively remember the linebacker literally jumping in the wrong gap. So that's concerning to me, but the call out is definitely an A+. Definitely an A+. The Trey Moore one is interesting because, again, now that I think about, Texas has played Michigan, which is obviously a tough game because we went there, and then we played Mississippi State. Those are really the only two teams that could ever technically beat us. And so it's really hard for me to assess here because everybody else we've blown out. And you know what? Maybe because we've blown them out, I should just give Texas credit for blowing out those teams and being like, hey, they took care of business. So there's also that. I do want to mention that I also, again, in that 2024 video, called out the freshman Ryan Wingo being a sleeper. I mentioned the freshman making an impact. And then I mentioned that the Texas team is going to go as far as their defense goes. And I actually think that's an A+ call out because I do agree with that. I feel like our offense is who our offense is. I said in the video that I'm more concerned about our defense because our offensive line, a lot of them are returning. Our offensive line should be great. A+ for me from there. And then I just talked about our defensive line being the thing that I was most concerned about. And so overall, when I'm looking at my assumptions on what Texas was going to be heading into this season, when I was thinking about the things I was worried about, when I had videos and I put them out there and people were kind of like, I don't know. Turns out I was right. It turns out that I was onto something and paying attention to a couple of things that I was worried about for this team. I will say this is where the season gets interesting though, because like I said before, we have a bye week this week. However, the week we come back, we will play Oklahoma, and then the week after that, we will play Georgia. So we're getting into the thick of things, and so I'll get to see how the freshmen show up then. I'll get to see what our offensive line looks like, what our linebackers look like, how our secondary play, because our secondary is going to get challenged. I'll be able to look at our red zone offense because these are the games where I think it matters. So listen, some people would look at Texas' schedule and be like, oh, you guys got an easy schedule, whatever. But I will say this, we played Michigan. And if you look at our schedule compared to other SEC teams, it's very good as far as it goes to pre-conference games, and we don't have any more pre-conference games left. Every game that we will play here on out will be SEC teams, and that is by Sark's design. Sark says he likes playing kind of those non-conference games at the beginning of the year to really assess the team, and then he likes really getting into the back half of the schedule playing conference teams. So we'll see how that plays out. Another bye week will come up, and I will go back and I will reassess everything that I've said, and we'll see where I'm at. But as of right now, I would say my grade is a pretty high grade, and I've done a great job of analyzing all of my teams and what I'm thinking and my concerns. And so having said that, I will say that I am very proud of myself to say not only do I know my teams, but I know football very well. And the things that I call out and the things that I'm paying attention to, you just might pay attention to those things too, because I might just know what I'm talking about. Kind of is what it is. Happy to be here. Happy to have all of this stuff recorded. Happy that Texas is on a bye week this week. I can't wait to see how we look against Oklahoma. I have my concerns, but I'll make that in another video. Actually, I've already recorded that video well ahead of time. So I'll release that next week about the Oklahoma game. By the end of the day, my Texas Longhorns are right where they want to be. They're 5-0, headed into the thick of the schedule. And so we'll just see what happens. But as always, I will keep track and I will complain and I will make videos and I will hold people accountable in my videos and I will do all the things that I've been doing all season long. If you haven't already, make sure you like, share, subscribe. I would love to hear your comments if you have anything to say. If not, as always, hook 'em.